Hi, I'm Scott Reall, founder of Restore Small Groups and author of the Journey to Freedom series, and this is today's moment of hope. Today's topic is the value in the changes in our life that come from character. What does it mean to have a character-driven life? And so for us, what we want to look at is that value-driven choices or integrated choices that integrate my body, mind, and spirit, there's harmony in them. And in my brain, in my mind, in my heart, and my spirit, those are the choices that lead to sustainable changes in our life. And if you think about it, the only time that changes are really sustainable is if it becomes a part of us, and that we call character. It's what the word, to me, integrity means, is that what I'm professing I want to be and the changes I'm trying to make, they're not being driven by fear and pressure. They're coming from an intrinsic motivation. And this is who I've become. God and I really did a lot of work in growing my character into this. And there's a great verse in Romans where it says that whatever afflictions we have, we can rejoice in, because it leads to endurance, and endurance leads to character, and then character leads to hope. So our hope will grow from our ability to stay on the path to the changes we're making when it becomes who we are. It's not coming from the external pressure, so what I usually see is that shame creates a lot of external pressure. Then shame creates a vicious path of fear that drives my decisions and my choices. So they're really extrinsically being motivated. But when they become intrinsic, it means that it's something that this is who I want to be, and this is who I am becoming. And when that becomes a reality and is sustainable, that means character is being formed. And that really, to me, is the most important thing. And I wanted to read a quote from Emil, and it kind of speaks to this to close. He says that moral truth can be conceived in thought. One can have feelings about it, one can will to live it, but moral truth may have been penetrated and possessed in all these ways and still escape us. Deeper even than consciousness, there's our being itself, our very substance, our nature. Only those truths which have entered into this last region, which have become ourselves, which would be character, and become spontaneous as well as voluntary. It really is our life to say, it's more than just something I'm trying to do, it's who I am. And he closes with saying, it is no longer outside of us, nor in a sense even in us, but we are it, and it is we, and that is character. That is character. And that is why, in the process of change, to me, the root of it, for it to be sustainable, to make these great changes, I grow into that person. That's my character. In his book, Anatomy of the Soul, Dr. Kurt Thompson talks about the difference between an integrated life and a disintegrated life. And an integrated life is whether there's integrity of the choices I'm making, the thoughts I'm thinking, and the person I really believe that I am. Disintegrated would mean that I'm thinking thoughts, I'm making choices that are not in harmony with who I want to be or who I think I am. So then that can go both ways. I can be being pretentious about living in a false self, that I'm this great person, I'm doing all these things right, I have all this great character, and then in my shadow life, I'm not that at all. And so they don't mesh. There's no harmony in them. They're not integrated. But if I'm making choices and I'm thinking thoughts, and I'm taking actions that are being driven from an intrinsic motivation of my character, of my being, those are the ones that really stick. In life, we have stimulus, and from that stimulus, we will respond. So from stimulus to response, as a human, I have this space, this freedom, this power to choose how I'm going to respond. But the reality is, if I am being driven from a false self and shame, and I have a disintegrated life, and I really don't believe that I'm a good person and I'm not capable of these things, then my responses are not going to be sustainable. They're really just being extrinsically driven. And once the pressure goes away, I'll go back to my prior character, to my prior behaviors and my prior way of living. But if from stimulus to response, I'm forming character, and I'm really becoming this person who has really a quality vision and is becoming that, and that character is growing in me. This is who I am. And then my choices are going to be integrated, and that's going to lead to responses that are coherent with that, and they're in harmony with that. Otherwise, it's a really tough life, living from a false self, being driven by external pressure and trying to do the right thing when it's really not who I am. So for sustainable change, from stimulus to response, to make the healthy responses we want, that we respond to life the way we really want it to be, it needs to be driven by character.